people, and welcome to another episode of Random Rambling. Yeah, this is the very exciting Q&A episode. Maybe I should name it, in another way, I don't know. Anyway, let's get into the whole thing. And yeah, please ignore my stupid heart on my face, because I have a pimple right there, but I don't know how to fix it. So yeah, this is the genius way to, make it invisible, kind of. Trust me, I am the makeup mastermind here. And the only reason I choose not to become a makeup guru on YouTube is by choice, because I don't want to outshine other people. Yeah, I'm finally one step closer to becoming a legit YouTuber, because I do Q&A now, yay! And for the sake of your understanding and my answering, this video will be in English. But still, you can decide which language I will be speaking in the future episode of Random Rambling. So yeah. So back to the question and answering process. And I have a few questions in my phone captured as picture, okay? The first one is a bundle. 你識講乜嘢語言？你喺邊度學過呢啲語言？ Which is, which languages can you speak and where did you learn them from? So I guess the cat is like out of the bag by this point. I can speak 4 languages, which is the first one, English, of course, because this is what you're listening right now, and Cantonese, my native language, and Mandarin, and Korean. And I've tried to dabble in Japanese, but yeah, I learned it as an elective for 1 year back in college, 2 semesters, but I felt miserably. Where did I learn them from? So I don't think I have to explain how I learned or where did I learn Cantonese. For English, I believe I began learning English from kindergarten, 3 years old. And I'm not being I am a genius, so I start from 3. It is in the curriculum. And yeah, throughout my whole life. And for Mandarin, I think I've mentioned it in the Mandarin speaking vlog, that I learned them from primary school. And Korean, according to the previous vlog, I learned them after high school, form 7, that is secondary 7, at about 19 years old. Next question. 你幾大? How old are you? And yes, this is how you say it in Chinese. I give you 3 seconds to take a guess. And don't cheat. I am currently 25 years old. Yeah, I'm old. Kids born in 2000, so 17 years old right now. Next question. 你多麼高? This is not the way you ask people how tall are you. Skip the more, okay? 你多高? 你幾高? That's okay. How tall am I? About this tall? I am 158 centimeters tall. And yeah, I believe that's quite accurate. I am short. And it's okay for girls to be short, or is it? The other one, 你學過什麼科系? So what was my major? My major was Korean English translation and interpretation, but more in the business side. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Honestly, I spent more than half of the time attending English classes because I want my life to be easier. I'm so sorry. Next questions. which place do you recommend visiting in Hong Kong as a local? In my opinion, Hong Kong's most, special feature or the biggest sparkling point is people, the quantity of people, and the density of people. So I'd say Mongkok is the very place to for foreigners to experience how crowded the place is. Besides, it is a place packed with food. You can get fancy, expensive food, but you can also get very local street food, including the stinky tofu. In short, Mongkok is a very Hong Kong place. So if you're planning your first trip, definitely go check out that place, especially the 西洋菜街. I don't know its English name. I'll put it on the editing part, okay? But if you're not the first time here and personally you like quiet places, I suggest going to Tai O. Well, they call it the Eastern Venice, so I've only been there when I was very little, so don't have any kinds of memories. Or you can go to Yuen Long Ha Ba Lai. People say can take, very extraordinary picture of sunset there. Never been there, not so sure, but if you like nature, then you can go there and take a look. But if you're I'm here for a very cultural experience, then maybe you can check out the museums in Hong Kong, especially the 文化博物館 in Sha Tin, that is. Yeah, they have pretty decent cultural exhibition, and they have a Bruce Lee one. I hope I'm not just repeating the, tourist guide book that you have on your desk. Next questions. Do you know of any good apps for learning Cantonese? Got any suggestion on that subject? Are there any vocabularies available online, preferably with Yupeng included? Well, I've done a little bit of research for this questions, but I'd say actually it is quite disappointing because in terms of mobile apps, I don't think they are very useful. The one that I guess is quite okay is called Learning Cantonese Daily. Well, they have some, basic to intermediate vocab / clauses list with Yupeng and pronunciation. The pronunciation is slightly wonky but okay, and you can use it as, a listening reminder or that kind of stuff. In case you forget or just don't remember the vocab or things that you have learned. But website is slightly better, but still, it's kind of wow in my opinion. The first one I would recommend checking out, it's called 速讀語言網. By the way, I will put all the links down in the description, so if you're interested, check them out, and I hope it helps. Well, this one it has a bunch of Cantonese vocabulary and some basic concepts about that, and more importantly, it has a listing out the different, the same thing but different ways to call it in Hong Kong, in Taiwan, and in mainland China. So I think that is quite useful if you are an intermediate or even advanced learner. And the other website that I would recommend is the one that I am using for Cantonese video right now. It is called ChineseConverter.com. I've recommended this one before, but I'll do it again here. It is a website for you to, translate Chinese characters into Yupeng. And the reason why I recommend this one mainly is it includes the untranslatable characters like 嗰 in 嗰個, 喺 in 你喺邊. Those kind of characters are quite tricky to translate or even to type in because those characters are usually for speaking. They're not like formally used, but this website can convert them quite I say, what is the word? Precisely. And the last one is a YouTube channel, and it's quite obvious because it is the biggest Cantonese learning channel on YouTube. Learning Cantonese with CantoneseClass101.com, that channel. I recommend that one because not only it has a lot of like vocab, 10 essential words that you need to survive in Hong Kong, that kind of stuff. It also has listening tests, like for different levels. That one's useful. Of course, the pronunciation or the speed of the speech is not as accurate as how native speaks, but still it helps. It is really not very much materials for people to learn Cantonese out there. I know life is hard. Okay, next question. Do you recommend learning 2 languages at the same time? I don't see a reason to say no to that, generally. But in order to, maintain your spirit or determination, you have a very strong willpower or motivation to do that. It will be a great pain in the ass, I guarantee you. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it, it's okay, that kind of stuff. No. It will be difficult, it will be confusing, but in order to make stuff less painful or easier, I suggest you separate 2 languages. If you can choose what languages that you are going to learn, choose 2 that are totally different. Let's say choose one from the European, Latin based, German. Is German Latin based or French? I don't know. I'm not a linguistic major. Oh god. And choose another one Japanese, Korean. That way your brain can easily switch from one to one whenever you are learning or have lessons about them. I guess it is quite difficult for you to confuse German and Japanese. Unfortunately, if you're learning 2 very similar languages like Korean and Japanese, I suggest you try your best to separate them, learning different things from them. Like, let's say if you're learning Korean, then you learn about family first. But if you're learning Japanese, then you learn about, fruit first. So try your best to not get them to mix up. Okay, next question. Man, this one will be a very long video. Oh god, it will take ages to run that. Oh god. So I've been learning Cantonese for about 2 months, and now my exams have finished. I want to spend more time focusing on learning the language. Good for you for finishing exams. Yay. But I'm a bit stuck for what to tackle first. So my options are learning Hanzi, memorizing vocabulary, sentence memorization, and grammar. And the question is, what would be your advice for a beginner learning Cantonese to focus on, and how do they actually learn it? Firstly, I don't know how beginners actually learn the Cantonese thing, so cannot answer that part, I'm so sorry. But about the 4 choices or things involved in Cantonese learning, I say if you are a beginner, just like what I've mentioned in my reply, focus on verbal communication first, because that is, I guess, the main reason that you are learning this language. You're not learning Cantonese to learn how to write in Chinese because you don't need to do that. You can just learn Mandarin instead. So, how to make verbal communication your first priority, putting in all the 4 things that you've mentioned. I say learn some basic sentence patterns first and try to expand your vocabulary bank. It is okay to speak like, a primary school student because you are still a beginner. So stick with short sentences. Don't try to make one sentence using 100 words because that is not going to work. Stick with short sentences and try to put in more vocab in it. Just imagine you are building a house. The very basic structure is the basic sentence patterns, and you want them to be fairly sound before you put other fancy things on top of that. That's what I'm trying to say. Stick with short sentences until you've mastered them, then move on to something more difficult. So if you're just a beginner, maybe learn the tenses before learning connectives. And the Chinese characters can wait, because believe it or not, there are a lot of immigrants' descendants, the second generation that are born in Canada, US, that kind of foreign countries. They can speak Cantonese to some extent, but they can neither read nor write in Chinese. That's totally okay because you can, speak. Plus, if you're texting, then you can just, use audio recording, and that's a-okay. So, yeah, short sentences, vocab, then move on to grammar, then move on to Chinese characters. And good luck to all of you beginners out there and other non-beginners out there. And the last one is not a question, it is a comment, but I think it's quite interesting, so I guess I put it in this video. Hong Kong people are so smart, they all seem to speak 2 to 4 languages on average. So in the last Cantonese tutorial, I asked the question, is Hong Kongers being able to speak good English a stereotype? Still, I don't know. I just heard it from, friends. I guess I can understand why people think that way, because it seems like that, but actually not really. Put it in one sentence is that Hong Kong people can speak in multiple languages to some extent, but they're not experts, at least not most of them. So this is how I used to explain the situation to my friends when they're curious about the situation. Imagine a place with 3 kinds of people. The first kind, group A, is the ones that cannot speak in that language at all. Group B, this kind of people, they can speak this language to a certain extent, but very good at them. Maybe they can ask where the toilet is, or they can tell you where the taxi stand is, that kind of stuff, but they cannot discuss politics with you. The last type of people, group C, is the one that is probably secretly native speakers of that language. It almost sounds wrong for them to speak in another tongue. It just doesn't suit. So the spreading situation in Hong Kong for English is that there are a lot of type B people in the city. Very little type A, because we are exposed in under a lot of English in many years. So it is very hard to find people that don't know English alphabets. But there are not that many type C people as well. I hope I'm making sense here. it is just a very interesting point to me, at least, because I really didn't think that way. Like, you're from Hong Kong equals to you are good at English. I don't know. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still watching, if you have any kinds of questions or things to say, leave a comment down below. Like this video, give it a thumbs up if you find this video enjoyable and useful. Also subscribe to this channel for more future Cantonese tutorial, time-lapse drawing video, and random rambling vlogs. And see you in the next video. Bye. Seriously, like, what was I even thinking?